right, jabronis, we're back. Hope everybody had a good week. If you haven't, please go back and listen to the previous episode with Nikki Sticks. Guy's got a lot of good ideas up in that old noggin of his, and we really need to help get those up and running for him. So go listen to what I'm talking about. You'll know, and then we can help get him the great success with all these phenomenal business ideas. So anyway, should be a quick one today. I really don't have too much to talk about, but I want to continue providing lessons from everyday things that we see in the world. So, we got to keep building and creating these teachable moments in life so that, well, I'll get into it in the junction. Real quick, though, wearing the Nick Cage shirt. I'm recording this on the release date of Nick Cage's newest film, Pig, which we discussed prior. Back when it was quiet, nobody was really talking about it. We were talking about it here, though. And now, look, it's premiering tonight. Or by the time you see this, it'll have premiered already. I'm sure you will all have seen it at least one time in that couple day span. But on premiere night, it's getting article after article after article of incredibly great reviews saying Cage is back. He did it this time. Now he's back. Biasly speaking, of course. He never really left, in my opinion. But objectively speaking, maybe he had a slight fall from grace. I hope he doesn't listen to this because I'd be in real trouble if my future best good pal actually heard me talking about him like that. But anyway, wearing the shirt for the premiere. I'm ready to go see it. I might go see it tonight. I don't know if it's in theaters or where it's at, but I'll find a way. So by next week, hopefully I'll have a good review for you. Maybe we'll make that the episode as the Pig review. So stand by for that. In the meantime, like I said, it'll be a quick one today so you guys can get about your business, about your lives, without having to listen to me run my dick sucker all day long. So let's step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Back on the notebook. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Cal Weaver's Cuckold Cocktails. You know that feeling you get when you find out your spouse did sex with David Lindhagen and all you want to do is go to the bar and suck down a few vodka cranberries like a 14-year-old girl from a straw until the pain goes away? Well, now you can do that in the comfort of your own home with Cal Weaver's Cuckold Cocktails. Custom-made, pre-mixed cocktails in a can that you can have ordered and delivered right to your doorstep. Just visit www.betterthanthegap.com. Use the promo code SCHWATZ for 3% off your first Cal cocktail. In this day and age, especially because of the COVIDs, everything is just being able to be delivered at home these days. Everything. Food, water, toilet, booze now. So call up Cal. They actually do their own delivery. They are not partnered just yet with Fangool Gabagool, but if I know Cal Weaver, I know he'll partner up. Anyway, the Cage Fact is sort of like an update. It's really not, actually. I don't know what I'm saying. It's not an update, idiot. Pig comes out. We already just discussed that 5 seconds ago. Movie Pig is out. He did an interview. Cage, Nick. They talked about the movie and the part he played. And Nick Cage said that he actually relates to the character. Now, real quick, the character in the movie is a celebrity chef who quits the game. the rat race of being a celebrity, being in the limelight, even if it's as a chef. And he goes into essentially obscurity and kind of lives his life in quiet peace with his best good pal, Pig. I don't know what the pig's name is yet. I'll let you know after the review. So that's kind of the background of his character. Now, in real Nick Cage says that Pig Nick Cage and he are relatable because in real life, Nick Cage sort of removed himself into obscurity from the Hollywood scene specifically. So he felt a deeper connection to the role because he knows that feeling of purposely leaving the limelight to go live your life. Now, one can argue that the life that Nick Cage continues to live might not be so much leaving the limelight, but I would counter argue that he did just that. His crazy brain, to him, a regular life is the life he's living now. In and out of Vegas, haunted houses in New Orleans, skulls, pygmy heads, weird, strange diets. That's Nick Cage. That is who he is. He is living his life as you would absolutely expect Nick Cage to live his life in quote unquote normalcy. So yeah, I think he left the limelight. I'm not just being biased again, maybe a little bit, but give the guy some credit here for who he is. I would say he's living a pretty decently normal life away from the Hollywood scene. Now, the article, if I can, I'm going to try to pop it up on the screen here. If you're on YouTube land, you can click the link here. If I can do it, I don't know how it works with article links. I know how it works with videos, attachments and such, but if I can figure it out, or if it's even allowed to be done, I'll pop it up in the top right corner here, and you can click on it and read the actual interview itself. It goes into stuff we previously mentioned about his own style of acting and how Ethan Hawke is a big fan and how he recreated sort of a unique performance style. He gets into a little bit of why he's choosing to do all these independent films, and he hasn't really been in a huge blockbuster lately besides the Spider-Man Spideyverse and the Croods. He talks a little bit about how he has more freedom to create the persona and the character that he's playing as opposed to essentially just being a puppet for those Hollywood pedophiles. So good article. Very excited for the film. Very excited. It's one of the first films in a few years. Actually, Mandy a few years ago came out pretty highly acclaimed, and it was a very good movie for an independent. This one, I think, has more critical acclaim. So very, very excited to see this. I might go see it immediately after recording this. I'll keep you posted. There's a lot of things going on in my life right now. I got to make sure I'm gaming with my pals. Wrestling is on. I got to get prepped and ready for SummerSlam. But we all know Nick Cage, number one on my list. So I very, very well may just forego all those other responsibilities to society that I created for myself and do what I want to do with my life and sit in a theater by myself and watch Nick Cage find his big pal. All right, that's the Cage fact. You're welcome. Now, moving on over into the Junction. Spin the logo up over here. I don't have a lot to say, once again, but there were some things I noticed. So I watched the UFC fights last week. Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, a whole lot of other really good fights actually on the card that night. It was pretty entertaining. Lately, I don't know what it is. I think the talent's just been getting better. The sport's getting more popular. But the fights from start to finish usually have been great. Undercard, prelims, they've all been really entertaining. A lot of good actual mixed martial arts going on, as opposed to it used to be way back in the day when we first started. I first started watching it. It was the main fight of the night was the fight. Everything else was almost just garbage. It was super hit or miss on if it was going to be a good fight or not. There was a bunch of nobodies fighting, but the game has evolved. The sport has evolved. So really good, entertaining event. But I did notice a few things. And actually, Nikki Sticks, my brother, also noticed these things too, and he brought them to my attention as well, which means we're mind melding now. You and I in the junction are now starting to mind meld as we continue to learn and evolve and grow together and retrain our brains to think critically, analytically, think for ourselves, focus on the big three, all these things that we're doing to our minds to be better, smarter, more aware, happier people. So Nikki Sticks did a little mind meld action with old LPDS himself. And he brought up some things I want to talk about really quick about the fights. And it goes into what I tell everybody or recommend, I should say, everybody do at the end of each show, which, as you know, because you all listen to every second of the podcast from start to finish, stay strong. Now, I don't remember ever really going into why I say stay strong or tell everybody to stay strong. I do it all. I sign it in my emails. I tell people all the time when I say goodbye to them. It's just become a thing, and not a lot of people have asked, and I really haven't been specific about why I tell people to do that. Why it's kind of like the mantra I try to live by. Besides the big three, of course. So I want to get into that first, and then we'll talk about what we saw in the fights, in a couple of the fights anyway. So I say stay strong for a good reason. It's not just like a throwaway. It sounds like a throwaway, and I want it to be informal for everybody as just, again, getting it into your brain, ingrained. Stay strong, stay strong, stay strong. Every time I see you, you associate me with the big three, my dashing good looks, and to stay strong. So what I mean by that is staying strong. It sounds simple. You're maintaining the strength to get through something. We all have gone through and will continue to go through hardships and hurdles and situations in life that try our patience, our mental fortitude, our emotional strength, all that stuff. And by getting into that mindset and reminding yourself to stay strong through that stuff, you know you can get through it then, or you'll be able to better get through those things because your brain is focused on maintaining the course to get through the hurdle as opposed to cracking under the pressure like most beta bitch boys do. And we don't want to do any of that. So maintain your strength to get through those hurdles. It's not just for you, it's for others, though, as well. If people see you doing that, maintaining your composure and staying strong through something, through hardship or stress or chaos or what have you, they will internalize that. I don't know why I stopped the word halfway through the word. Anyway, they'll internalize that and see through your actions that this is an effective approach to an otherwise negative, difficult situation. Very difficult situation. It's Tony Soprano. Nailed it. So you want to maintain that strength for you and for others. We always talk about actions speaking louder than words. Don't talk about it, be about it. If you are seen staying strong in a particular situation, people are going to notice that and take note and follow suit. Your kids, especially if you have kids, younger folks will see that and they'll think, oh, wow, this guy's got it figured out. I was crazy and chaotic in this situation. I'm a kid. I've never experienced this before. I'm losing my shit. Oh, mom and dad got it dialed in. They stayed strong. Now I can calm down and follow suit because they know that everything's going to be all right. Now, the second sort of meaning or reason behind why I say this all the time, the why, if you will, is it's key here. I say stay strong, not be strong, not get strong, or try to be strong, or look up strong in the dictionary. I say stay strong. Key word. Staying purposely implies that you're already strong. And it's not just to serve, again, as a throwaway compliment like, oh, yeah, I think you're strong. Shut up and get away from me. You're strong, whatever. No, it is, again, to remind you, to make you once again realize that you have gone through shit before and you survived. You're here. You're still standing. You're still alive. You got a family, a roof over your head, a job, whatever you have that's good in your life, you still got it. So all the shit that was bad in your life, you got through it. You were strong enough to get through that. So there's no reason why you need to go back to beta bitch boy mode if you ever were in that mode. You should just stay strong. You're already strong. It's a friendly reminder. You are a strong son of a bitch. And you got this. Whatever it is, you will get it. You will figure it out, and you will power through. You are strong already. Already. Remember that. I know it's easy to forget shit like that, and I'm not saying be cocky and just walk around with your dick in your hand like a big shot, but remind yourself internally, especially when you're feeling down and out, which happens more times than not. I know Instagram and Facebook's always show only the good and makes everyone look like they're having the best, happiest lives and everything's successful. Relationships are good. Jobs are good. Their lives are the best. In reality, we all know that's not the case. Not every minute of our lives is happy and successful and great. That's part of life. Shit happens. We got it. The key there, though, is that the shit that has already happened to you, you have made it through. So remember that when you're feeling down, that you've gone through shit already. And you made it through. You stayed strong then. Continue to stay strong. Good times, bad times. Give me some of that. That's why I say stay strong. It's not just a throwaway. It's real. I mean it when I say it. It's a real sentiment that I feel, and I believe that everybody should think about that on a daily basis. Besides the big three, of course. Now, where the hell am I going with this, Libretti? You psychopath with a schnoz. The fights. Watching the UFC fights. I don't know who watched them. Not talking really so much about the results, but the key pieces in these fights here are sort of examples, of when staying strong goes wrong. Now, this is something that people don't necessarily think about often, especially when they're dealing with motivational quotes or throwaway quips that they get from somebody, some celebrity telling you everything's going to be all right, or whatever the motivational thing might be for the day. They just blindly see it and be like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be a yes man now, or whatever the hell it is. There is nuance to all things in life, including staying strong. What do I mean by that? Great question, guys. I love where your heads are at. You can stay strong during things, but still be stupid in those ventures, those efforts. Case in point, one of the main card events, the fights, was between a really good fighter, Sugar Sean O'Malley. Call him Sugar because I think it matches his first initial, Sean, Sugar Sean. I don't know. Really good UFC fighter, good MMA guy, pinpoint accuracy. He was fighting this jabroni, Chris Matino. I think it was Chris Matino, Sorry if I butchered that, Chris. I know you're listening, clearly. Matino was obviously the underdog. He was coming from an off-brand UFC. I don't know where, like what promotion he was coming from, but it was like one of his first UFC fights. And he's going against this top dog. He's a top tier fighter, that Sugar Sean. So Matino took the approach of just pushing forward. I sort of call it the Rocky approach to things, because if anyone's seen Rocky, if you haven't seen Rocky, by the way, get out of here. Like, if you don't know by now how I feel about the Rocky saga and haven't gone and at least watched one or two of them on your own accord, you ought to be ashamed of yourself and stop listening to this program until you watch at least one Rocky. You want to understand what's going on in this brain and this stupid heart of mine? Watch Rocky a little bit. You'll see what I'm talking about. This is when stupid people persevere and press through. Go watch Rocky immediately. Then you can come back and listen to the rest of this. That being said, the Rocky approach is to just keep moving forward no matter what. Just keep barreling forward, because the idea is if you keep getting up and moving forward, that poor son of a bitch on the other side is going to die inside. You're going to steal his soul. Now, if you remember from Rocky 1, that's what he did with Apollo Creed. And you can see it. And David Goggins talks about this too. David Goggins is an absolute animal. One of the top 2 most animalistic human beings in the history of the world. David Goggins is probably number 1. Just an absolute animal. Go look him up as well. His motivation, his beginning motivation to get to where he is today, the most savage, dangerous, scary man on earth, was Rocky. Watching Rocky come after Apollo and come after Apollo, and keep getting up and keep pushing forward to the point where he took his soul. You can see in the film that point in the fight where Apollo knocks Rocky to the ground. He cracked him pretty good, and he thought it was all over. It was the end of the fight. It was a brutal battle. And then Rocky gets up one more time, and he looks at Apollo, and he gives him like the old come here with the gloves and the olive oil and the hand gestures, and Apollo, his whole soul just right out of his body. You can see it on the screen. Carl Weathers did such a good job doing that. It was unbelievable. So I digress a little bit. Going back to Matino, that was his mindset. It looked like clearly from the fight was, no matter what this guy throws at me, I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep coming at him. And that's exactly what he did. The problem with that mindset in real life is that Matino got punched 200 plus times. Sugar Sean landed over 200 successful punches. Not just he punched and missed and did whatever. He landed over 200 punches in a 3-round fight. The fight, actually, they stopped the fight with 30 seconds left because Matino just kept getting tagged. It was unbelievable to watch. It was like a movie. It was like you were watching Rocky. It was crazy. In fact, even the fans, I think, started chanting Rocky a little bit throughout the end of the fight there. Again, the problem is in real life, those actions have consequences. Serious medical life consequences. That guy got tagged in the head, in his skull, 200 plus times. So much so that by the end of the 3rd round, not even 15 full minutes into the fight, the guy couldn't even protect himself. He was a dead man standing. His brains were leaking out of his ears. And he was, you were watching the CTE grow and form on him. It was unbelievable to watch. That is when staying strong sort of goes wrong. The guy persevered. Now, he made a name for himself. So that's a bit of a caveat there, is that maybe his intention was not so much to win as much as it was, I got to show the UFC that I'm here to stay and I got to make a name for myself, because that's what he did. He succeeded for sure there. But he cannot sustain that tactic, that TTP, because he's going to get his brains literally turned to mush. He got it done during that fight. They were half mush. You can see the porridge coming out. The poor bastard was a dead man standing. Crazy to see. This is where you want to use your brain before it turns to mush and understand that there's a balance between staying strong and staying stupid. You don't want to stay stupid. You don't want to be stupid. You want to play to your strengths and stay strong smartly. So Matino had an incredible fight. He got the crowd into it. He got fans off their asses and on board with his style and his effort. So in the short term, he stayed strong, and that was great. But the second, third order effects that's going to have on a guy in fighting, probably not going to be great. Probably not going to be too great. So think about things like that when it's time to stay strong. You want to make sure you have your wits about you still. The other example of this at the UFC event was the Conor Poirier fight. Now, this wasn't a staying strong but stupid kind of situation like Matino's, where Conor or Dustin decided to get just punched in the skull and get their asses kicked just to prove a point. It wasn't like that at all. It was a mental personality mistake, I would say. I'm calling it a mistake because Conor did this on purpose, obviously, and I'll get to it in a second. And I think he made a mistake in that tactic. Now, what he did was, Conor McGregor is well known across the land and the world to be one of the top tier shit talkers in any sport and at any level. He finds the mental and emotional vulnerabilities in people that he's going after his opponents, and he exploits the shit out of them before the fights, to the point where they're usually rattled enough that he has almost an easy go at it in the ring. He sort of had that with Poirier, their first fight years ago, got under his skin. It was very obvious. Dustin Poirier admitted it later on, and he almost had his way with him. He won pretty handedly in that fight years ago. He was obviously back to that old Conor of shit talking and trying to get into Dustin's head. The whole pre-fight training camp, all the antics that he pulled, he was back to the glory days of Conor McGregor, when he was just trashing the shit out of his opponent. Pretty standard stuff for him. Wasn't phasing Dustin. The issue is, after the fight, so spoiler alert, Conor McGregor lost. He broke his leg, and after the first round, they called the fight because he couldn't walk anymore. His leg was broken. It was like dangling, like it was a separate joint in and of itself. So he was done. Where he messed up was that he chose to stay strong with the wrong approach. He chose to stay strong with his shit-talking persona and not stay strong with who he is as a real man, as a real adult human being, like we have seen in the past with him, where he wears his mistakes, he goes out graciously, he respects the fighter after the fight and lets them know, hey, I am, I did a lot of shit talking, but he came in and he did work on me. More power to him. Good fight. He's done that. He has done that in the past when he's lost. This one, he doubled down on his persona. He stayed strong on the shit-talking, trash bin Conor McGregor. He started talking about how the fight's illegitimate. I didn't lose. The docs made me stop because of the leg. Dustin didn't win at all. And then he started going in on his wife. Your wife's in me DMs, mate, or whatever he says. That's not a goddamn Irish accent, you moron. But he was shit-talking his wife. She's in his DMs and blah, 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 and I'm going to find you, and I'm going to kick your ass, and it's not over yet, while he's sitting there with a broken leg and then getting carted off on a gurney, a stretcher, a litter, whatever you want to call it. He's the one getting carted off to the loser's corner. And he's still flapping his gums, running his dick sucker like he won the fight. He did not stay strong. I guess he did, but he stayed strong with his persona and not the real adult man, Conor McGregor, who likely follows the big three in normal life. So the lesson here today is not just learning about why I tell people to stay strong and why I think it's actually important and not just a toss-up, a throwaway saying or phrase to get people to laugh or think I'm a clown. I don't have to get you to think I'm a clown. I'm a fucking clown. Sorry, Terrence, family show. I look like a clown. I smell like a clown. I act like a clown. I'm a goddamn clown, and I get it. I'm okay with that. That's fine. I don't do anything on purpose to create that persona of clownery, though. I was born like this. God blessed me with these rugged Muppet looks and my ridiculous ways, for better or worse. So I don't do anything on purpose as again, a throwaway to make you think I'm something I'm not, some other persona, if you will. There is a meaning behind why I tell people to stay strong, why I believe in it, and I want people to get it ingrained in their brains. And when they see anything about me, whether it's an email, see me on the TV, on the YouTubes, see me in person, they know they're going to get to stay strong, and I'm going to mean it. The other lessons here for the day, children, are to know the nuances of staying strong. We can't just blindly listen to some big-nosed asshole that tells you to stay strong and follow the big three. I'm going to teach you why. And why I follow from the mistakes I made, not because I'm some know-it-all jackass. It's because I learned through mistakes, learned the hard way a lot of things. And I picked up old things along the way, what works for me and what I think could work for you guys too. So that's why I want to impart that wisdom, is more like, hey, learn this lesson from me as opposed to learning it through yourself, through the mistakes, because I already made the mistakes for you. I did it. And I'm going to continue doing that, whether I think I'm doing it on purpose or not. Most of the time, I don't do it on purpose. I just fall into the wrong decisions, and then I learn the hard lessons. But then I'm going to bring them back to you. So learn these lessons. I'm not just talking out of my ass here. This is from experience. I have stayed strong to the point of going wrong. I do it all the time. I'm a stubborn, hard-headed idiot. So that's how I know that there is nuance to that mindset. So think about that on whatever situation you find yourself in, that you know, I should probably listen to Libretti and stay strong here. Take the extra half second, keep that critically analytical brain going. That's why we want to keep that brain where it is, always highly functioning, to do that one more extra step of understanding the nuance of the situation and adjusting fires as needed, adjusting the strength that you stay with for that situation so that you can get through the hurdle effectively and not stupidly to the point where it's going to hurt you in the long run. Matino is going to suffer some serious head shit later on in life if he continues down his road of taking hits like that for the purpose of perseverance only. Conor McGregor's reputation and respect levels are going to go down severely. I know a lot of people already hate him anyway, but he has maintained up to this point a certain level of respect in the community and the world, really, because he talks shit and backs it up usually. And when he can't back it up, he takes the bow and says, hey, I talked a lot of shit. I couldn't back it up. Good work on the other guy. He didn't do it this time. So there are consequences to your actions when you stay strong stupidly. So you don't want to do that. And that's the lesson, the LPDS lessons for today, folks. I don't know how long we recorded. I always say I want to go short and keep it simple. And there's no timer on this recording device that I got going on, also known as a computer. The clock isn't up when I do this shit, so I have no idea how long we've been running. It could have been over an hour. Probably not. It's probably less than that. But I get on these tangents and I get revved up about stuff, all hot and bothered. And the next thing you know, my jaw muscles are moving quicker than my stupid brain can catch up to it. So this is what you get. Then you get the electric content that you get each and every week from the LPDS. So I guess you're welcome. I don't know. But that's it for today. Before we go, though, once again, the big three, get it ingrained in your brain. Every week, we're going to repeat it until you guys anticipate it coming and you can repeat it back to me because you lived the life. You lived the big three. Number one, exercise every day for the physical, mental, emotional health that it brings to you. Cannot stress that enough. Do what you can every day. Number two, don't be a shitty person. Think of others. Remember that others are human beings as well that have feelings and lives that they have lived and situations going on that you know nothing about that affects who they are as people. But they are still people no matter what. So think about that before you decide to lob off a blind shit talk or a troll or a how you doing. I will say this. A quick caveat. It's not an apology, by the way. I am not apologizing for this. I'm going to explain why. Earlier this week, I did an Instagram question and answer. How you doing? On the story, you can post, hey, ask me a question. You asked a question. It's anonymous. I know who it is, but I don't post who it is, and I answer the anonymous question publicly on the story. It's good. I like the engagement. I think it's fun. You guys ask pretty wildly eclectic questions, if you will, all different topics, different shapes and sizes. It's great. I love it. I'm going to keep doing it whenever I remember to. But one of the questions was, which celebrity would you fight UFC style? Now, I chose Bruce Springsteen. I started calling him a lot of names in my explanation. I even wrote a little joke there that clearly I'm not following the big three here because I'm shit-talking a guy I never met before. Now, in reality, I don't know much about Bruce Springsteen as a person, as far as I'm not his friend. I never met him before. I'm sure he is a nice guy to the people in his circle of trust, his brotherhood, if you will. I'm sure they love him. Nice fella. He's got a family or whatever. There are certain things that he has done publicly with no apology, no reprisal or any sort of retribution or justice that I take offense to. Not offense. I don't really get offended, but I have an immature, insecure chip on my shoulder about. A lot of anti-American sentiments were passed through him back in the Vietnam days. I don't like that he is an adulterer and never even said anything about it. He just cheated on his wife and then left her. No big deal because he's Bruce Springsteen. I don't like that. I also didn't like that he can pretty much get away with anything. Had a DUI incident where they claimed that the test didn't read correctly and he wasn't really under the influence, whatever. Also happened to be the same exact week that his podcast with prior President Barack Obama was coming out. So that may or may not have had something to do with the fact that his DUI charges kind of went away there. I don't know for sure. I'm speculating. Again, I'm jaded. I will admit that. But I'm not apologizing for how I feel about him. I will apologize for just trashing the guy without meeting him because, again, that's hypocritical to the big three, and that's what I'm kind of getting at now here is the guy's still a human being. I never met him before, So I should really follow that. Perfect example of how I am too a human being, and I don't expect you to, I don't expect everyone to think that I'm just this perfect guy. That's why I'm not telling you this stuff, because it's like, I'm a perfect specimen and example of all this stuff. I'm a human being too who makes stupid mistakes constantly. This was one of them where I've shown that I shit talk still. I am not a perfect person. All that being said, don't be a shitty person. Try not to be. Work towards it. Number 3, though, the most important one that I really work on as much as I can every day, because I think it's the most important thing, is to be thankful and grateful for all the good that you have in your lives. All of it. Because you never know when it's not going to be there anymore. When you don't have the money to live under, in a nice house, you got to go be a homeless bum now. When you lose a loved one that you wish you could have hung out with more. You lose a pet friend. You got to put a dog to sleep, or a pet, your best good pal. Anything. Remember the good you have in your lives and cherish it and be thankful and grateful for it. The most important thing you can do, because that has a trickle-down effect on so many levels in your life and then the others around you's lives. So think about that. This is not just, the big 3 is not just to benefit you, it benefits those around you. Because good is contagious. Just as much as bad is contagious, so is good. And if you work every day to try to live by the big 3, even through your stumbles and fumbles, like we all do as human beings, if you try to work and focus on that, it will benefit you and those around you. And that's why I harp on it so often, week in and week out. I'm always running my mouth about the big 3 because it's so important. Those 3 simple things can have so much of a good, positive effect in your lives and everybody around you. It's crazy when you step back and look at how it works. Then you'll see, oh shit, that big nose idiot was right one time. Thank you guys for listening. I love it every week. I love the feedback. I love being able to do this for you guys, for myself too, selfishly, but for you guys. Keep the suggestions coming. Keep the feedback coming. McStiff gave me great feedback. We butchered all the gun knowledge from last week's episode. I knew we did. I knew I was going to hear about it, but he was very respectful in his approach. So we got to get him on so that he can he could teach me a few things about guns, essentially. Because we butchered that in a very funny way because it was not even close. But keep the feedback coming. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.